Okay, welcome to my Senior Spotlight interview. I'm joined by Cassidy and Dana. So let's start off with, what are your plans after high school?
Well, for me, I'm going to be attending University of Southern California. I'm really excited to go down to LA starting in the fall, and I'm going to be majoring in business administration in the Marshall School of Business. What about you, Cassidy?
I'm going to the University of Utah, and I'm undecided with my major yet, but I'm super into graphic design and kinesiology, so we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm super excited to go skiing, and there's a bunch of national parks around Utah, so I'm pretty excited.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
how has COVID affected your junior and senior years?
It was pretty unfortunate, not
Very
even going to lie.
unfortunate.
It's been pretty hard. Um, just the whole college process and having to do that at home and then dealing with COVID and just like all the uncertainties going on was really hard. But I think I can speak for both of us when I say now that we've both committed
Yeah,
to a
it's
college.
such a relief. It
Yeah.
feels so good, and I think part of it was just kind of hard not being around like our friends during that time because it was a super stressful time and nobody really knew what they wanted to do, and I don't even know how to explain it,
Yeah.
but it's just like our whole lives
We're
were
kind of
leading up to this,
yeah.
and it was sort of, I mean, it was underwhelming in a way, but it also was it's just really nice to see everybody on campus and like have a little bit of a sense of normal.
Yeah, normalcy. I 100% agree, and I think especially for us, sports is just like a big thing, and for us not to have like well, last year we didn't have a spring season, but then not having the fall or the winter was really hard for a lot of seniors. But I think being back on campus has been good for everyone. Everyone seems to be in great spirits, especially in our class, and we're really just ready to enjoy the next 4 weeks as much as possible and make the most of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Dana said.
All right, perfect. Leading off that, if you could relive one of your 4 years at high school, which one would it be?
You can go.
I would just say this year because it's just been online, and I know there was a bunch of events that we sort of missed. I mean, I don't know, this year has just been pretty rough, but I wouldn't relive any of my freshman or sophomore or, I don't know, I guess junior year was pretty good too, but I would say this year.
For me,
But that's just me.
So I think like the obvious answer was like if we could have a normal senior year. But honestly, my junior year, like what we had of it was definitely my favorite year of high school. I don't want to be a freshman or a sophomore again. But everything about junior year was just super fun for me. So I think my junior year.
All right. And what are some of your hobbies, and have
wait,
any of your hobbies influenced your decision of what you want to do later in life?
So both of us are actually into darkroom like photography. So I know for me, I really want to take what I've learned in my darkroom elective, and just like develop that in college. Because I know I have a business major as my main thing, but I was thinking I might want to minor in photography, whether that be like darkroom or digital or all of that. So I definitely want to incorporate my love for taking photos into that. What about you, Cassidy?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm super into taking photos, and I really enjoy editing mine. When I take photos, I like to layer my photos on top of each other, so that means I have at least like 3 or 4 photos into one, and so graphic design I think would use my skills in that as well. And then, yeah, I also wanted to start a clothing brand from that, and I think Darkroom has definitely like sparked my creativity in ways that I would have not even thought about before. Because I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't have thought to make a clothing brand if I was in photography because, yeah.
Cool. Do you mind doing a quick explanation of what darkroom photography actually is?
Yeah, so darkroom photography is kind of like going back to the basics of learning how to use cameras that take film. So in a darkroom course, you'll learn how to shoot on a camera that has film in it. Then you'll learn how to develop your film into your negatives. Then you'll learn how to actually print your own photos from negatives. So this is what they did before there were digital cameras. So it's really cool to see the whole process, because I think when we have our phones, we're just like, oh, take a picture, and we kind of like take that for granted. But when you take a step back and look at the process of photography, I think it's really cool, and it's a lot more rewarding when you're developing your stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely super rewarding, and just like develop, because you have to put the chemicals in the jar, and I mean, and that takes a while, and it really makes you appreciate like the final product and what you did to get to that point, and then you really appreciate the photo. And I don't know, I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you recommend that class?
Yes, for sure.
100%. Yep.
All right, perfect. And what was one of your favorite memories from high school?
I would say one of my favorite memories was just being on the water polo team, and just all the girls that I've met on the team have been so nice, and it's kind of been like a mini family in a way. And when we'd go on away trips, we would go play in tournaments, we'd stay in hotels, and it was just like a mini family, and just that part of it was so fun for me. And just playing other schools and like having that competition and just playing a sport you love with your friends is one of my favorite memories here.
Yeah, I think same for me. Last year, our basketball team, we went undefeated in league. We won league. It was just super exciting. So I feel like I have that basketball family feel that Cassidy was talking about with water polo.
Mm-hmm.
And then for track, my sophomore year, our girls team, we won league. And our relay team, the 4x1, we broke the school record. So all of those like sports events have been super exciting. But then also like thinking of just like the stuff, the everyday things, like we've had so many sunny days recently, and it's just reminded me of how I love a free period, hanging out with my friends, going out on the amphitheater, just like the simple stuff you kind of forget about, but with COVID you realize how important those daily interactions are.
All right, perfect. Next, if you could tell your freshman self something, what would it be?
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason, and stuff will work itself out. And you have to just trust the process, because high school can be so hard sometimes and just so brutal. Mm-hmm. Not like academically, socially, just like with yourself, trying to figure out like who you are as a person. It's just so draining sometimes. But I think like being a senior now and like looking at like the big picture of everything, things have worked out pretty well. Yeah. I think for me, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say trust the process, because there are times where it's been pretty rough, like, I mean, academically as well, but also socially. And it's just, like, it takes a little while to find your people, find your path, find out who you want to be. I mean, you can really establish yourself here and make a bigger, you can make as many friends or as little friends as you want. I mean, just finding the people that you
like connect with, and just finding your place in a community, and then how that's going to influence you. But everything works itself out, and everything happens for a reason. So.
Yeah, I mean, because I didn't even think I was going to be able to choose on my college. Yeah. And I was freaking out. But, I mean.
Here we are.
We're going to college, and it's all okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, perfect. And how has your high school experience really impacted you, just overall?
I think Stevenson is just such like a great place to go to school. I mean, we've both been going here since we were like little. We were literally talking about how like long our friendship has been.
Like 12 years. We know each other for 12 years.
Yeah, and it's just this school, just the values it's built on and what it really strives. Like the school just like wants you to succeed, and I think that's super important. And I've learned here that it's okay to fail and mess up, because there are people supporting you and there are people rooting for your success. So I feel like I've learned that it's okay to make mistakes, and I've learned to deal with some really hard stuff, and I've been given the tools, I think, to survive in like a bigger place and be able to thrive, just because they've taught us how to be independent, but at the same time acknowledge that it is okay to ask for help.
Yeah, and they've definitely been very helpful in providing the tools that you need to succeed, because I struggle in school. I have very bad dyslexia, and there's been many times where I've gone to the resource center and I've been like, I really need help on this. I have no idea what I'm doing, and they have just supported me and just saying, like, you know, you can do this. Like, you are a smart person. I know it does not seem like it, but you are. And just, like, I don't know, it sort of built my confidence in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I went to a public high school. I don't think they would be able to help me in that way. And I also just think our Expo was such a great opportunity to really get to know ourselves and put us through a really challenging thing.
Yeah.
Dana and I also went on Expo together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that experience was just so fun in itself, and it was definitely hard at times, but if I could do Expo again, I definitely would do Expo again. It's super pretty. You can go. The only thing that's rough about it is the 10-mile hikes a day, and when you barely have any food. But I got super sidetracked. But yeah.
What is Expo?
So the Wilderness Expedition is offered for sophomores, where it's 11 days in the wilderness. You're going with 2 adult leaders and then 2 upperclassmen co-leaders, and it's basically just a trip to help, like Cassidy said, get to know yourself and get to know people in your grade that usually you wouldn't surround yourself with. It's built on like teamwork, it's built on communication, and there's a point in the trip where you have to spend 36 hours by yourself, and that is like so transformative because for both of us, we are so social. We love talking to people, so having to sit with yourself for that long, I'm sure you were asleep for like a little more than half of it, but like
hard though.
It was really hard, but it was just such a transformative experience, and if sophomores, like, if you get the chance to do it, you definitely should.
Yeah.
And is this mandatory?
It is not mandatory, no. And it's during spring break, so you can decide if you want to go on spring break or if you want to go on Expo, but I highly recommend Expo. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you're sitting by yourself in your room, but you're never really sitting by yourself in nature for that long.
Yeah.
And you do not get food either, which is also an added twist to it, but I think just looking back, I mean, I just found my Expo journal like a couple days ago, and just reading back what I wrote, like, it was just,
it
got
puts
to
things
think
in
about,
perspective for you. It
yeah.
makes you think about what's important and what you've been like overthinking, and it's it really sitting with your thoughts for that long is like the most like insane thing ever. It's crazy.
I mean, you take away your phone, you take away your bed, you just daily things that you sort of take for granted. Then you start to think about it even more, and then you think about how grateful for everything you are, and then
100%.
So it puts that in perspective, and then you also start to figure out things about yourself and what you want for the future.
Exactly.
And just stuff about that.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. What is some advice you have for younger students like me?
Are you talking about like with school, social, sports, experiences, or any?
Just anything related to school.
I think put yourself out there and just like get the most out of your Stevenson experience. I was kind of thinking about this the other day. Like, you can either leave this school with like a lot of people knowing who you were and like knowing your impact, or you can kind of just be someone who like does well in school, does okay in sports, but like kind of just like leaves afterwards.
Like an everyday person.
I think just taking advantage of the opportunities we have here is like incredibly just like beneficial for someone, and I think that if you put yourself out there, if you try new leadership stuff, try new leadership stuff, try new sports, and just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, if there's something sitting in front of you, you might as well take it instead of just looking at it. Yeah. I mean, it goes to Expo as well. You have the opportunity, you might as well take it.
Yeah, just take advantage.
You're never going to have something like that in your entire life with your classmates and stuff, like the same people. You're never going to be able to do that. And so you might as well just, I don't know, seize that opportunity.
And don't take high school for granted at all, because we lost like arguably like the best years of high school. And it's just, it makes these last few weeks so much more special to us, and I think we're all feeling it, and we're all just like, all the seniors are just like, let's just enjoy this the best we can. But as you guys who still have so much time left, just don't take it for granted, because you never know, one day school could close and you don't know when you're gonna come back. So
all right,
well said.
Now, what is your what is your proudest accomplishment outside of school, and why?
Outside of school. I mean, that's a good one. I mean, I just need to sit with that myself real quick.
Maybe inside of school?
Yeah, mine would definitely be winning the Rickliff's Scholar Award.
You explain what that is?
Yeah, so that's like the highest non-academic award a junior can receive, and a lot of people are like nominated for it, and you have to go through this whole process of writing an essay. For me, I had to make a video answering a prompt just because of COVID, but usually you go through an interview, and then you have to submit a resume. And for me with like school, I've always just like worked hard because that's just been like my thing. I'm like, oh, I want to do well. I want to understand what I'm doing. Like, and I didn't even think this could lead me to like being nominated for such like a prestigious award. But like with the work I've put in with leadership and then my sports achievements and then paired that with school, I ended up winning the award, and it just kind of solidified like this new confidence in me, especially because I was up against people in our class who I think like so highly of, and I think they're so intelligent and so successful that to be even like compared to them and be able to like say like I'm in that group with them is just like I was just so proud of myself.
Yeah. I would say I have two things. One would just be everyday stuff and just like getting better academically, because like I said, school has been pretty rough for me and I've definitely struggled, but I've really learned how to deal with everything, and I'm just proud of myself in that way. And I'm also proud of myself sports-wise because let me think about this real quick. Last year, the girls' water polo team went to CCS, and that's the first time in the longest time we've ever done that. And that was just super exciting. Going along for the ride and actually just winning a ton was super fun. And I do think we could have won the whole CCS, but, you know, things don't go your way sometimes. But it was, I'm definitely super proud of that and super proud of my team and what we've done. So, yeah.
And last question before I wrap this up. What do you plan to do after quarantine?
Oh my God, just live it up, travel, hang out with my friends as much as I can.
Definitely travel, yeah. I haven't been able to travel in a while. The only place I've probably been is Canada, and that's because of water polo, but I definitely want to try to get over to Europe a bit, maybe.
I want to go to concerts.
Yeah,
I just want to go to a ton of concerts.
I've missed that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and like amusement parks and
Yeah.
just like all the just fun
Things that
stuff that
used to
include
do,
crowds.
do.
All the
Yeah.
fun stuff that
The
include a ton
crowds.
of crowds. Yeah.
crowd surfing.
All right. Thank you for joining me, Dana and Cassidy, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
you.